Welcome to the Get Trauma Informed podcast, dedicated to unraveling the complexities of trauma, its pervasive impact, and the journey towards holistic recovery and realignment. If your radiance has ever felt muted, like I and thousands of others, you're in the right place to reignite your inner light. I'm your host, Wellness Coach Liz Blanding, and this is the Get Trauma Informed podcast. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Get Trauma Informed podcast, where we are in a mini trauma recovery talk series, right? We're in part number 3 of trauma informed leadership. So today we're talking about mindset, trauma, abuse, recovery, and the self-determination theory. We're going to discuss a little bit about why fixed mindsets and trauma narratives can stall progress, understanding autonomy, competence, and connection, and empowering team members without enabling the trauma loop. And we talked about the trauma loop a little bit in our first parts. And so now we're going to dive in a little bit more, a little bit deeper. Now, trauma doesn't just affect the body, it shapes our mindset. Let's sit with that just a little bit, okay? Many people have experienced trauma and abuse or addiction, adopt beliefs like I'm not good enough, I'm always or always will be broken, or success isn't for people like me. These internal narratives often form a survival mechanism, but becomes a barrier to growth, leadership, and recovery, right? This is where mindset work becomes critical. Trauma-informed leaders begin by helping individuals identify limiting beliefs and replace them with powerful truths. I tell you, I just have to stop for a second here. I have an amazing coach that tapped into this part of my trauma recovery journey and my trauma recovery story. I could not see past thinking that I think positive. I know I can do it. I encourage and I strengthen others. I, inspire others. But he had me to narrow down and really unfold the layer of my limiting beliefs. And I didn't understand that it was related to my trauma. So when we can identify these limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering truths, then that makes all of the difference in the world. Leaders must also reflect on their own mindsets. Do I lead from fear or from vision? Do I believe I can change, or am I stuck in a cycle of burnout and blame? That is huge in trauma recovery. Let's talk a little bit about the self-determination theory, which is also ST or SDT. This supports this by identifying 3 basic psychological needs: autonomy, the ability to make your own choices. And I'm getting that with my identical twin grandbabies that are turning 3. Well, they'll be turning 3 in just a couple months here. And everything is no. If you say yes, everything is no. I can do it. That is what autonomy means, the ability to make your own choices. And just a little bit about that, when we're raising our children or rearing our grandchildren, if we can help them to understand that that is okay, because when we stop them, we start making them feel that making their own choices, or that they can't make their own choices, and it impairs their ability to be strong leaders. So embracing that no, because I'm from old school, that no, it aggravates me, but I understand now where it's coming from, and I understand how to redirect it in a more positive way, but still allowing them to make their own choices. Competence, the belief that you can be effective. All of this is impaired when you have suffered trauma or complex PTSD, or complex trauma after trauma after trauma, or even a sudden instant trauma. This can hurt your belief that you can be effective. And relatedness, feeling connected to others. There's a dissociation that can happen when we've gone through trauma. Trauma often strips these away: autonomy, competence, and relatedness, right? Abuse takes our autonomy. Addiction robs us of competence, and betrayal severs connection. Recovery involves reclaiming these core needs. The leadership becomes a platform for modeling what healing looks like in real time. Okay? What healing looks like in real time. Trauma informed leaders don't just manage, they empower. They foster environments where people feel capable, respected, and safe. Safe enough to grow. And I emphasize these words because it is to the core of me why trauma recovery is so important and why we have or why we should develop ourselves into trauma informed leaders, right? When leaders model a healed mindset, they give others permission to shift from survival to self determination. I hope you got something out of this mini trauma recovery talk. If you want more information, contact us at Oasis Wellness CTRS.com. You will find a plethora of information, resources, and the ability to be able to connect and become a trauma-informed leader. Until next time, we'll see you. Bye for now. It's time to buckle up. No more suffering in silence. Our Power Pack journey to recovery and realignment starts now. Remember, you were collateral damage on someone else's warpath. Trauma is not your fault. Recovery, however, is your responsibility. I'm your host, Wellness Coach Liz Blanding, and this is the Get Trauma Informed podcast.